Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims. Welcome to day 132 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. Today we are going to talk about what makes a truly happy soul. And there is the world's version of what makes a truly happy soul. And then there is a truly happy soul that has immersed itself in the Christian life. So we're going to talk about that. Our readings are from Notebook 2, Numbers 593 through 595. O my Jesus, nothing is better for the soul than humiliations. And contempt is the secret of happiness when the soul recognizes that, of itself, it is only wretchedness and nothingness, and that whatever it possesses of good is a gift of God. When the soul sees that everything is given it freely, and that the only thing it has of itself is its own misery, this is what sustains it in a continual act of humble prostration before the majesty of God. And God, seeing the soul in such a disposition, pursues it with his graces. As the soul continues to immerse itself more deeply into the abyss of its nothingness and need, God uses his omnipotence to exalt it. If there is a truly happy soul upon earth, it can only be a truly humble soul. At first, one's self-love suffers greatly on this account, but after a soul has struggled courageously, God grants it much light by which it sees how wretched and full of deception everything is. God alone is in its heart. A humble soul does not trust itself, but places all its confidence in God. God defends the humble soul and lets himself into its secrets, and the soul abides in unsurpassable happiness which no one can comprehend. One evening, one of the deceased sisters, who had already visited me a few times, appeared to me. The first time I had seen her, she had been in great suffering, and then gradually these sufferings had diminished. This time she was radiant with happiness, and she told me she was already in heaven. She told me that God had tried our house with tribulation because Mother General Michael had given in to doubts, not believing what I had said about this soul. And further, as a sign that she only now was in heaven, God would bless our house. Then she came closer to me, embraced me sincerely, and said, "I must go now." I understood how closely the three stages of a soul's life are bound together. That is to say, life on earth, in purgatory, and in heaven, the communion of saints. I have noticed many times that God tries certain people on account of those things about which he spoke to me, for mistrust displeases Jesus. Once, when I saw that God had tried a certain Archbishop, Jaworkowski, because he was opposed to the cause and distrustful of it, I felt sorry for him and pleaded with God for him, and God relieved his suffering. God is very displeased with lack of trust in him, and this is why some souls lose many graces. Distrust hurts his most sweet heart, which is full of goodness and incomprehensible love for us. A priest should sometimes be distrustful in order to better ascertain the genuineness of gifts bestowed on a given soul, and when he does so, in order to direct the soul to deeper union with God, his will be a great and incomprehensible reward indeed. But there is a great difference between this and disrespect and distrust of divine graces in a soul simply because one cannot comprehend and penetrate these things with one's mind. And this latter is displeasing to the Lord. I greatly pity souls who encounter inexperienced priests. So I would say that the world tells us that a happy person is a person who does whatever they want. Whatever makes you happy, do it. It's a person who has a lot of material wealth and material things. A person who has found great occupational success. Like you've really made it in the world. You are doing something that everybody deems as super important and super prestigious. And then getting to use your wealth to do a lot of things, such as vacation, go a lot of different places, travel a lot, I would say is something. Basically experiencing a lot of things. Those are the things that the world tells us makes you truly happy. And we know that isn't true deep down because there are a lot of people who have a lot of material wealth. They have a lot of material things. They have a lot of, occupational success. And they live their life however they want, and yet they're not happy. And you can just tell that they're not happy because, like I said before, it sounds kind of subjective, but there is that glow, that true glow that comes off of somebody who is really happy within their soul. So, what makes a truly happy soul? I kind of jotted down a few things. Obviously, there's more, but these are the things that came to the top of my head. One of them is they can find goodness in any situation. The truly happy people that I know, even if the situation that they're in is not going as planned and there's some bumps and bruises along the way, they roll with it. They just roll with it. And they don't attack people along the path. They just find the goodness and they keep a positivity about them. Not a pie in the sky positivity, but a realization that they're going to make it through this and it's going to be okay. Another thing I've noticed is that they really cheer on other people. They really encourage others to become the best version of themselves, to quote Matthew Kelly. They don't get jealous of successes. They, encourage other people to, use their God-given talents to bring happiness and healing to the world. And they don't see other people doing well as diminishing them in any way. They cheer on everybody and they're really happy if anything good happens to other people. Another thing is that they accept their limitations. They realize that they don't have all the gifts in the world. They do recognize what their gifts are and they recognize that those gifts come from God and that they are meant to use them to bring Christ to people. But they also recognize their limitations. And so they realize that, okay, I'm not good over here. This is not something that I've been gifted with. And so I'm not going to keep pressing down this path because it's just not going to work out. And that's okay. I realize that that's not what God wants me to do. God doesn't want me to do that. He wants me to do this. And so they don't get bitter about not having, a certain gift or a certain talent. They recognize that somebody else is going to have that and somebody else is going to fulfill that need. And they're fine with that. Another thing is that they're grateful. When I used to be a waitress and serving people in the food arena brings out the worst in people. When people are being served by waiters and waitresses, they can just treat people so horribly. And I really recognized that there are some people who are ungrateful no matter what you do. If you can bend over backwards for them, they're still going to find something to be ungrateful about. Nothing is ever good enough. They whine about everything. They complain about everything. Nothing pleases them. They're extremely high maintenance. And then you would have people come in when I was waitressing who, if you messed up a little bit, if you weren't doting on them 24/7, they would just smile and say, it's okay. It's okay. If you can just bring me out another one, that'll be fine. And they were just grateful and appreciative for your effort. And I just have noticed that people who have a truly happy soul can always find something to be grateful about. And the last thing that I wrote down is that they seek out the true, the good, and the beautiful. They want to immerse themselves in those three things. And what that means sometimes is sacrificing, not going along with the world and accepting a lot of ridicule because you don't go along with the world. And it also means that you don't follow your will. You follow God's will. And, the world telling us, just do whatever it takes to get yours. you do whatever it takes to make you happy, don't worry about anybody else, that oftentimes leads us into sin. And we know that sin does not make us happy. And so it sounds nice, do whatever makes you happy. But oftentimes that means that we just immerse ourselves in vices and really bad sins because they're temporary pleasures oftentimes. And those temporary pleasures make us feel good for a minute or two, and then they don't anymore. And we just keep pursuing that down that road in order to try to keep feeling good. But when you pursue and you seek out the true, the good, and the beautiful, you are going to have to follow God's will. You're going to have to give up some things. You're going to have to accept ridicule and, stones figuratively thrown at you because of the light that you're shining. And you may not get to do just whatever makes you happy, but you can be happy anyways. So that is all for today, Catholic Pilgrims. I will see you back here for day 133. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.